Hi, friends, and welcome to our new moon work. We have the new moon, it says 150. The actual time is 3 seconds less, 1:49:57 GMT. So here it is a little later in the afternoon here in Finland. And this is sometimes called, as you may know, the SHAMBALLA New Moon. It will give us a chance to impress our monthly theme individually and in terms of our group, and well, in terms of our nation, and I should say in terms of humanity, maybe all 4 ways. Since there are quite a few of us, I'm not going to be calling out names, but I just want to thank you for being here. And I'm just trusting that my recording is going and that you can hear me. That's kind of like number 1. It's been a few days since I've been able to do anything on discipleship in the New Age, but I just happened, in making a little compilation on the divine plan, we're going to be working with the divine plan at our Esoteric United Nations at 7 p.m. tonight. I noticed a lot of wonderful material in Discipleship in the New Age, Volume 2. So before long, I will have finished section 1 of that wonderful book, and section 3, which is already finished. Well, finished, you know, but you have it. And I'll leave it to that pretty much, unless I change my mind, to that team of excellent esoteric astrologers who are looking up who these people really were and what their astrology was. I mean, the disciples of Master DK, and not so different from ourselves. So let us say that what DK says to them really has application to our own discipleship training. Now, this will not be a long meditation. And we'll begin with it. I would like to resume. I guess I just want to do too much, but okay. I would love to resume that 729 reference compilation on Shambhala. Oh, there's just so many excellent compilations that give you topical study. And DK says, learn to study that way, which is the horizontal method, and then reading the books just straight through. Excuse me, the vertical method, and reading the book straight through is the horizontal method, and thus we form the cross. So welcome and appreciation for all who are attending. And if you can't attend some of these new moon, full moon sessions, they will be on Makara and to a certain extent on Moria Federation esoteric education. You can get them in 2 places. Well, here we are with the new moon coming up in Leo. Leo in the meditative sequence represents concentration. It's the beginning, but it's also the end, in that there is a final burning ground in Leo, which liberates us into some very high places. And when we're dealing with Leo, we have to understand what fiery pain is all about. The sacred pains, as they are called, many disciples, maybe all at a certain point, experienced them, and Krishnamurti certainly did. His life was quite an agony for a while as he was being prepared to be a vessel that the Christ could use. So let's get right into our meditation. And we'll realize the interesting fact that the Earth, the whole Earth scheme, is the base of the spine center of our solar logos. And, you know, that means power. That means will. It's a great center of will, and fittingly so, because the Earth has a first ray monad, which will become increasingly active, and especially toward the end of this solar system. It's interesting. And then there is, with Uranus, that rules the head center, the highest head center, the 1,000-petaled lotus, purpose, and Uranus too has a first ray monad. Now, these are the only ones in our system. Maybe there's something about Mars also that have the first ray monad. So this can be a very powerful time. And we should realize that a very strong will energy is available now at these new moons, and especially when there is an eclipse. I don't think that right now we have the eclipse. I don't think so. Doesn't look like it. I might be incorrect. Just trying to see clearly. Doesn't look like it, no. But still, you know, every new moon is a powerful opportunity, and we have to seize our opportunities. So let us bring the personality equipment into a state of receptivity through purification. And we imagine in doing so that white light is sweeping through the physical body and through the etheric body. It's really one body in a way, but there's a higher and lower aspect to it, the etheric physical, light-filled. And that light is sweeping through the astral body, helping to be rid of all those glamours which are substantial. They block contact with reality, at least intra-universal reality. And sweeping through the lower mind, which helps us become disillusioned, that is, getting rid of misinterpretations, illusions. And through our whole personality, what we are doing, at least in Western terminology, we are cultivating the individual Christ. It's ruled by Virgo, and the cosmic Christ by Aries. And we are trying to develop, as we will, but the time equation is in our hands, Christ in you, the hope of glory. So we withdraw our consciousness, which is really the soul in incarnation. We withdraw that from the personality and its vehicles, and at least imaginatively enter deeply into the presence of the soul. And that will be a world of, at least imagined, spiritual light, spiritual love, spiritual sacrificial will, a world of synthesis and a world which reflects the divine will of the monad extended into the as, shall we say, as the jewel in the lotus. And we start to become what's called the diamond soul. So we know the soul is group conscious, and we begin to have that sense of touching in soul. At first, all those we are working with, scattered as we are geographically, but it's one group. But we can go further, extending to the spiritually minded people of the world. They are also members of this one soul, the men and women of goodwill, and finally, the new group of world servers. Somehow we're getting the impression that there is no my soul and thy soul, but only the soul. He says no longer use the thought, my soul and thine. And maybe we can get that, the sense of that powerful second ray mantra, naught is but me. And then well, we can apply that first to humanity and then to every kingdom and nature, and finally to every perception that we have. Naught is but me. And we're going to work with a great second ray mantra as we project across the largely indigo bridge, that ray of white light. I see the greatest light. Inwardly we think that, and outwardly will sound the Om. I see the greatest light. Oh. 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 I see the greatest light. Think about Shambhala, which we're going to consider to be the ongoing theme of the new moons. It is, says the Tibetan, a world of pure energy, of light, and of directed force. It can be seen as streams and centers of force, all forming a pattern of consummate beauty. All potentially invocative of the world of soul, of the soul, and of the world of phenomena. It therefore constitutes, in a very real sense, at least for us, the world of causes and of initiation. The one initiator dwells within Shambhala. And we think, what will be the seed we plant this month? Every farmer knows at the new moon you plant. What will be our individual seed? You can write it down. What will be our group seed? What will be our national seed? Something our country really needs, aligned with its soul. And what will be the seed we want to cultivate for all of humanity. And you can work on these over the month. But we're getting close now. And this is going to be the new moon moment when the solar logos is applied to the moon gradually, wearing it away so that it is no longer a vampiristic obstruction in space. So let us pause in the silence and I will sound an Om when we reach the point very shortly. Another less than 3 minutes. We work under divine purpose as the plan reflects it as much as possible. Let us be open to the energy of divine purpose as it works out through the divine plan, from the Manu, the Maha Chohan, and for us, above all, the Bodhisattva, the Christ. The plan for our little part individually, as in meditation number 4 in Dhyana 2. The plan for our group, the one we work with most closely, and maybe other groups. The plan for our nation. The plan for all of humanity. And even if we can begin to get a notion, an idea of the lighted destiny of our planet, then also the plan for our planetary scheme, the Earth scheme. Our task is to live our lives working under divine purpose, as reflected in that part of the divine plan which we can understand. And just like the solar logos wears away the moon and its influence, our moon, until at length it disappears, so we eventually identified with the monad, that is, with pure being, will wear away the outer dense physical form, individually considered, and then the true physicality will be the etheric form. But when we're dealing with Shambhala, even if simply imaginatively, we have to think about the lords of liberation in Shambhala. We know so little about the divine will, but the day is coming. And these three great lords that we have named, liberty, equality, and fraternity, they are watchful over humanity. Just as the Buddhas of activity are watchful over the triangle's network. And though these great beings have no interest at all in being worshipped, they can be invoked, they can be evoked, and once not too long ago, they did save humanity. Now, the old saying, you fight fire with fire. And because the time of the great conflict or great conclave is coming, a conflict has arisen with the lords of form who do not want to see the conclave succeed. Because it will mean one more liberative step for humanity, that humanity can live under the divine will, under the divine purpose, expressing as much of the divine plan as it possibly can. So, if intervention is needed, because the problem will surely get worse before it gets better as we approach 2025, let us sound the second great invocation. We'll do that silently or aloud, but muted as far as the program goes. Let the Lords of Liberation issue forth. Let them bring succor to the sons of men. Let the rider from the secret place come forth, and coming save. Come forth, O Mighty One. Let the souls of men awaken to the light, and may they stand with massed intent let the fiat of the Lord go forth. The end of woe has come. Come forth, O Mighty One. The hour of service of the saving force has now arrived. Let it be spread abroad, O Mighty One. Let light and love and power and death fulfill the purpose of the coming one. The will to save is here. The love to carry forth the work is widely spread abroad. The active aid of all who know the truth is also here. Come forth, O Mighty One, and blend these three. Construct a great defending wall. The rule of evil now must end. So, friends, we will be in a sense, warriors for the next 4 years. Behind the warriors, twixt the light and dark, blazes the light of hierarchy. And this must be our main concern, that the angel of the presence of humanity dominates and rightly utilizes the often rebellious personality of humanity. We have to help people broaden their point of view, deepen their point of view, and see at least a little something of the divine plan. So interesting that the Tibetan said at some point, humanity will realize that alone and unaided it cannot solve its own problems entirely, and will invoke hierarchy. Now we are there in our educative mode to help humanity learn how to do that. And thus we take advantage of our full moon and new moon opportunities, always being impressed by the energy of the moment, in this case, the double Leo energy in the Sagittarian decanate of Leo. And maybe it will help us cross some burning grounds that lie before us, so together we may enter through the portal which leads to a higher point of tension and to greater revelation and to initiation. Now we will also sound the great invocation, released to humanity at this time only because the Christ decided to undertake a tremendous sacrifice and appear in person before humanity. The great invocation encapsulates the divine plan. There are so many ways to look at the divine plan, and we human beings, we don't have the whole story by any means. Perhaps the three great lords within hierarchy and within Shambhala have much more than we. But we have enough to work. We know that great light is needed, that great love is needed, that the spirit of sacrifice is needed, that synthesis is needed, and finally, as much of the will of the monad as can express on the higher mental plane. All these are needed. So let's think of the divine plan, the sacrifice of the Christ, the reason because of him why we even have the great invocation, this third of the great invocations. And as we sound it, we can see the moon, that temporary obstruction in space, slowly wearing away under the influence of the Solar Logos, helping to solarize our planet through its disappearance. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Om. So remember, friends, think of the seed you want to cultivate for this month. It may be, of course, a repetition of what you've done before, for yourself individually, for your group, for your nation, for all of humanity. We'll be working in the Esoteric United Nations. Some of you are members. It requires a commitment, a pledge, until at least the New Group of World Servers Festival in 2026. And so we'll be working on helping to bring all those factors, but especially the nations of the world, into harmony and cooperation with the divine plan. We'll be working esoterically. And of course, the United Nations per se works on the outer plane very much to help with that whole process. So that starts tonight at our night anyway, 7 p.m. GMT. Another 2.5 hours from now. So if you are interested in joining us and making your pledge to stick with it, basically, I would suggest that you write to Michael Crow and to Tuya. Michael, if you would be so kind as to put those email addresses in our chat.
Okay.
And you can come in and see what it's all about. But basically we're studying right now the divine plan, and we're studying every nation in certain groupings in relation to the divine plan, and meditating accordingly. So remember, friends, it's going to be heavy going for the next 4 or 5 years. There's no way to make light of it or to say that everything is just a smooth ride. It isn't. Because those other forces, which have their place, of course, in the larger scheme of things, will be fighting to oppose the great conclave and a smooth entry into the Aquarian age. So, humanity is ruled by Scorpio, the sign of the warrior. And that's what we will become during these next several years, using esoteric methods. So thank you for being here, and Tuya and I and Michael Crow, Michael Stacy, Joe, and BL, and who are the regulars for the communication team, and others who help us now and then, we all wish you many blessings and lots of love. And so this will be up fairly shortly. We have some other things to put up, and you'll be able to restudy if you wish. Meanwhile, a deeply significant Leo New Moon to you. And may the sense of the shambolic power and the solar esoteric power dawn upon all of our consciousness. So we'll see some of you anyway in another hour and a half, 2 hours and a half or so. Take, I think I'm right. Yeah, wait a second. Maybe it's longer. Yeah, it is. I'm sorry. It's more like 4.5 hours from now. We'll see you then. Bye for now.